Hey, what's up, podcast? It's Jeff, and before we jump into this awesome episode of Teach Better Talk, I wanted to give you a little preview of a couple of the sessions that are coming to the Teach Better Conference this November 8th and 9th. If you're not already registered, you can go over to teachbetterconference.com, see all the amazing speakers and presentations that we have coming, and also get your registration. Make sure you use discount code Podcast Talk to save $50. Here are just two of the sessions that you will be able to come see as told by the presenters bringing them to the Teach Better Conference. I hope to see you in November.
Hey there, it's Kevin Butler from sunny Los Angeles, California, and I can't wait to see you at the Teach Better Conference this November. I am excited to be presenting my Creating the Experience workshop, where I'll be sharing ways to make content-rich material into engaging and authentic learning experiences your students will love and remember. My session will also include a behind-the-scenes look at my own classroom simulations, interactive lessons, games, resources, teacher hacks, and stories from my 17-year career as a teacher, as well as a few surprises and even some giveaways. If you haven't registered yet for the Teach Better Conference, head over to their website at teachbetterconference.com. I will see you in Ohio.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Orris and I'm a Technology Integration Specialist in Cuyahoga Falls, and I'll be doing two Teach Better Talk sessions about develop your students as creators, not consumers. So the big idea here is that at the end of the day, it's the students that should leave tired, not the teachers. So we're going to look at a few strategies and techniques and resources that'll help you as the teacher develop your students to create and use higher level thinking skills and be an active learner, rather than just sitting back and receiving information and being passive. So I hope to see you on Friday at 1:50 or Saturday at 12:55. And please register and see us at the Teach Better Conference.
You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 111 of Teach Better Talk. I'm Ray Hewart, and as always, I am with my coffee-fueled friend, Jeff Gargis.
I'm still over here laughing from your first take of this episode.
Okay, I had a blooper as we started this episode because Jeff told me not to say this episode as episode 111, which I was never going to say. But then when he called me out on it, I'm like, I'm reading the intro and I'm like, I don't know what episode it is, 111.
I might just keep the entire thing in.
Don't keep my blooper in there.
And we've had a night of bloopers. This is we recorded two different podcasts tonight, and the first one that we did, I messed up right off the bat too. So I feel you. I'm with you.
It's late. It's a Monday, and we just interviewed like my favorite person on earth, and so
So speaking of that, this was a kind of a cool episode. I mean, it was a great episode in general, but like kind of a cool episode for you because we actually had a teacher on, Delaney Brummel, who was actually spent all of last year in your class as a student teacher.
Yes, I feel like every time she was speaking, I was just having this like proud mama moment where I'm like sitting back in my chair like, oh, she's all grown up now.
Yeah, and I know she had. I mean, I know. I mean, you talked all year last year about her, and I mentioned that in the podcast in the episode as well. But I also know. I think I recall you've talked before about she kind of went through a cool program, like how she got connected with the, and became in your classroom and stuff. Can you kind of share? Like, I thought it'd be kind of cool, like lead in the episode for you to kind of share, like, what was it like having Delaney in your classroom now that she's not here to defend herself.
I know. You know what? I talk about Delaney all the time when she's not around. She just doesn't know it. And I guess she'll find out a lot of it in this podcast. But I say it at the very, very end that Delaney was a fabulous teacher before I met her. I mean, she was somebody who just seemed to she must have been born a teacher. I just think that it oozes out of her. And I was so fortunate during a conference at Illinois State University. It either was her sophomore or junior year. I connected with her, and a few, as the years went on, I just continued. She just kept popping up. She was in leadership roles at the university, and she, like I said, she was born to be a leader, born to be an educator, and somehow I remember when her and I had this conversation her junior year, she was president of a education sorority on campus. And I looked at her and I'm like, I want a student teacher. I think I should figure out a way to get you in my room. And at the time, it was completely a joke. And then she ended up being a year-long student teacher in my classroom, which wasn't because she failed her first semester and kept with me. Just to confirm, she was a part of the PDS program at Illinois State University, which is a year-long student teaching program. I actually graduated from the same program. And it's just so interesting, seeing someone grow so much. And she's student taught in my classroom, which I'm a math teacher, and she's a reading and writing educator.
Mhm.
So I think that it was not only a challenge for her to be in a classroom in a content area that she wasn't comfortable with, but also, I mean, Jeff, I won't lie, like I pushed her. Like, she came in good. I couldn't let her just stay good. Like, she needed to have a challenging student teaching experience, and I don't know. I think that she killed it. I mean, she's just a rock star all around. And when she was looking for a job and she ended up at Plano with Mark Heller as their principal, I just couldn't have been more happy for her. Not because she ended up in like the job that she wanted, like the dream job, but also that she'd be close enough. She stayed in Illinois. I wanted to have some connection to seeing her journey, because whether it happens, whether it happened already or it's happening, I mean, this girl's going to blow up. She's fantastic and loves education. I love being around people that love their job, like you, Jeff. Love their job.
Yeah, and I agree. And you can hear that during this entire episode with Delaney, that she just loves. She actually says it too, just to be clear. But like, I mean, you don't need her to say it. You can tell she's the kind of teacher that wakes up every morning just pumped at the fact that she gets to go teach. And I love that. Like that gets me pumped up. So super cool. It got me thinking also, we talked about, with new teachers and stuff, we're always, it's a interesting time because you're trying to figure out a whole new world. You're trying to show that you know what you're doing, that you
it can
can
be
handle
very
the job.
isolating.
It can be isolated. And so we talk about that all the time. Teachers on here talk about it all the time, but building that PLN, getting your network, growing it. And obviously, I love social media. I'll always push people to do social media and stuff like that. But I also think, an awesome way to get involved with that is just getting involved with organizations that are out there. There's so many organizations available for teachers and for new teachers and stuff. So I wanted to just run through a few of the ones that we've attended events for, that we've had conversations with, that we've done some work with or doing work with and stuff that I think are really, really powerful, and that people, especially new teachers, should get involved with for opportunities to take on volunteer leadership works, to just connect with people from all over the country, and to get some really, really cool resources. So what do you say?
I say we do it. I think that teaching is so isolating. And if you're not connected, whether you're growing your network organically on social media or you're part of a state or national organization, I mean, do not isolate yourself. What do they say in George Kuros's book, An Innovator's Mindset? Like at this point, isolation is a choice, right? Ignorance is a choice. You have to make the active choice to not be connected now. So why bother? Like, go meet these amazing people. And what are a few of the organizations you'd recommend, Jeff?
So AMLE is a great one for folks like you are in the middle school level, right?
Love middle school people.
NEA is just a national one. National Educator Association is a great one for just anyone of any level, anywhere in education. NAGC is a great one, connected to gifted and advanced learners.
Are you going to say our friends at IDEA?
I was going to mention, yes, definitely our friends at IDEA, which is the Illinois Digital Educators Alliance.
Hey, they're having a conference in February.
They are. We're going, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going. I just got my email.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were going to get all excited about that, because we get to go to that, and that was one of your first conferences. So great for that. So shout out to them. They've been featuring us in their newsletter and stuff, so we can give them a little extra love. So IDA is a great one. Ray and I will be there in February, so make sure you go there. That's a state level. So some other state level ones. I mean, I know you do a lot. You're involved with the Ames Network, which is a great one as well. Also in there, we love SECO here in Ohio, which is Science Educator Council of Ohio, which is the NSTA Ohio level version of that. OAGC is the Ohio for Gifted. So what I'm trying to get is that there's a whole lot of these national organizations that do some really, really awesome things, but then there's these state level chapters of all these different organizations that are really, really powerful to get into, really specific to your state. Because as you know, I mean, every state is different, and then every district is different. So getting into those state level ones, I think, is a really, really cool one. So look up, just Google it, go find some organizations to get involved with, go to the conferences, go down. There's all kinds of free resources on almost all of their sites. Get involved with it, and then just keep building your network. I think is just so important for it. But and then more importantly, and all that, listen to this episode with Delaney Brummel, because she gives some serious things, some seriously great advice, and share some stories, and we have some laughs, and it's a good time. It's a great episode. Super excited about it.
I'm really glad that you chose to yell at her halfway through the episode. Because yes. I just felt like I couldn't yell at her, and you took my job. It was good.
Yeah, I love it, and I like that you didn't spoil what I yelled at her for. So now you have to listen through and figure out why Jeff yells at Delaney, and I didn't really yell at her, but
you totally scolded her in a recording. You did.
Well, Delaney, I'm sorry, but I don't think I need to be sorry. # sorry, not sorry. But anyway, so awesome episode, Ray. I feel like you've said all we need to say about this. Let's just get right into it. Episode 111 with Delaney Brummel.
Hey everyone, it's Ray. We're going to get right back to the episode, but I want to share something special for my Illinois teachers that are listening to Teach Better Talk. I love professional development, and there is so much going on across the state. One of my favorite avenues to find professional development in the state is through IDEA, which is the Illinois Digital Educators Alliance. For those that don't know, it's a non-for-profit organization dedicated to leadership and education through technology. One of my favorite things they do is the ISTE certification. This is a digital credential that recognizes educators who understand how to use ed tech for learning in a meaningful and transformative way. Illinois Digital Educator Alliance has been selected by ISTE to be an authorized provider for this certification. If you want to find out more, make sure you head over to ideaillinois.org and you can find out all the details. And by the way, if you go do this, make sure you tweet out at Jeff and I, because we would love to hear that you started your ISTE certification journey. All right, let's get back to the episode.
All right, we're here and we are talking with Delaney Brummel, and I am already feeling left out because for those of you who don't know, Delaney and Ray spent all of last year together, and they're already basically deciding to do this podcast episode without me. So while I've got the mic and everyone is still listening for Jeff, Delaney, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. Good to be back with Ray, and my new friend is you, Jeff.
At least I'm somebody's friend here. That's good.
We'll include you.
Yeah.
Delaney, I was super excited to have you on the podcast. I knew that you were going to be somewhere where we have so much fun. And then the moment you popped on and giggled, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a reunion of two best friends. I'm So Delaney, I want our listeners to learn all about you, because you are somebody that I not only have gotten to know for the past year, but also your future is, oh my gosh, the brightest on earth. And I just want everyone to know all about you because you're doing amazing things. So would you mind kind of sharing what you do?
Of course. All right. So I feel like you can take whatever I say for a grain of salt on this, because I've only been in the teaching field for 9 weeks. So I feel like I have like some different insight about that, because I just graduated from Illinois State in May. I student taught with Ray for an entire year. So I have a unique experience, and I have a lot of great things going into my first year. I teach in a rural-ish school in Illinois. I'm an 8th grade language arts teacher. I teach in block period. So that has been something that's been awesome. 80 minutes. Reading and writing.
Wow.
A whole year with Ray. That's a long time with Ray.
Yeah, and it was math too, and ELA was always my passion, and so I feel like I made it work.
tortured her.
No, not tortured me. Taught me a lot.
Delaney says, in ELA, did you happen to do any editing of things that Ray wrote or anything? Like, did that?
Oh, stop, because I can't spell. Delaney knows I can't spell.
Yeah,
it's not really that you can't spell. You just like to capitalize random things. Anyway.
We go with it. The students go with it. It's all fine.
It works out. All right. So now, if you've ever talked to Ray about Delaney, you would pretty much assume that she's never failed at anything, never had any struggles, because you're just amazing. Everything that Ray ever talks about you is that you're amazing. But I also know, I actually don't mean that, because she actually told me that one of the things she used to talk about a lot was how good you were with reflection, and always coming to her and asking, how can I be better? How can I be better? So I don't know where we're going to go with this one, but I want you to take us to a time that you've had a failure.
Yeah.
And sort of take us there with you. Like, what happened? How to make you feel? How did you overcome it? And then what did you take away from that?
Yeah. So at first, last year, I would say in my student teaching, I wasn't the best at reflecting. I would just teach it and I would think about what went good. And I'd be like, oh, that was great. But Ray helped me reflect every single day until the point where it's like, okay, I get it. Now I'm reflecting. And so this year I've been reflecting, and I have a little bit of an ironic story. So I'm lucky enough to have advisory every single day with my kids, which is incredible. So of course, advisory is all about social emotional learning, which is really big in the middle school. So when I heard I had this time with my students every day, I'm like, yes, I can teach all that really cool stuff that really needs to be taught. And then it came to my lesson about failure. I was teaching the kids why it's okay to fail and all that jazz. And then I realized I failed. I failed the lesson on failure, literally. And I think it was because I went in there so excited to teach about those things that I didn't really set the groundwork for talking about things like that. So instead of playing all the games at the beginning and getting students comfortable with who's in the room, I jumped into all those lessons that I couldn't wait to start. And so then I was like, have you guys ever failed? And no one was speaking because no one was comfortable with each other.
Gosh, that's a really important point.
Yeah, no one was comfortable. It was awkward. I felt like I had to be like, if you answer, I'll give you a Jolly Rancher, I guess. And then it was just awkward and we learned nothing. So ever since then, I've been going back trying to find some new things for the kids to have icebreakers. Even though they know each other, they don't know each other in the sense of their advisory class. So we've been working on that and we're really improving, which is nice to see.
Really cool. So now let's flip that. Let's talk about a successful moment you've had. And this could be something big or something small. And it can't be that you got to work with Ray. It's got to be something different. But tell us what happened. Why was it a success for you? And then what did you... Ray, just so you know, that would be my answer.
Jeff, you're such a loser.
Moment,
how dare you think with everything Delaney's accomplished that would be what she would pick? I know what she's going to pick, and I was literally stalking her social media during this success moment, so I cannot wait for her to share it from her perspective.
Well, if I had to pick, I would pick the day that you asked me to be on the podcast with you.
Our listeners know that's a lie.
All right, so let's talk about that successful moment. Delaney, share with us what it was. Why was it a successful moment for you, and then what did you take away from that?
Okay, so when I got the job for ELA, I'm like, I need to make reading and writing fun for kids. And I know that sounds like everybody wants to make it fun. Yes, but I wanted to make it more than that. I wanted to make them want to come write, which is easier said than done. So we had this whole plan. They were going to write a narrative. So a narrative is like a story, which I'm like, that's creative, that's fun, they're going to love it. And then we said, okay, start writing your narrative. And it was going to take about 2.5 weeks to write it. And then I started realizing they've never written for this long in their life, like a 2.5 week written paper or story. So then we started calling it a book. I'm like, you're a published author, you wrote a book, which you guys just did. So congratulations on that. But little plug for you guys there. You're welcome.
I like that.
So then we're like, let's throw a party. Let's throw a publishing party for everyone who's published something. And then ever since student teaching with Ray always invites people into the classroom from the community, and Ray should close her ears right here. I'm like, people don't want to come. If I email people, they're not going to want to come. I was literally planning inviting my grandmas, my mom, my sisters, because I'm like, who's going to come? So at least we'll have bodies in here to support the students. And I think Ray knows better than me. And I just learned this. If you email people in your community, if you call them, they will actually want to come and they will come. And so all these people from the community, local authors, people from the public library came and listened to my students talk about the books that they had just wrote. And we called it a publishing party, and they mingled at the end, and it was really cool to see. And the students were actually really proud of their work. And I actually got people to come in other than my grandmas, who of course I love, but you know.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too, Delaney. And I don't think Jeff and I even talked about this. I tried to move every single thing in my calendar. I wanted to be there so bad. I wasn't even invited, for our listeners, just to know that. I would send an email by 5 different people who somehow are connected to Delaney, being like, wow, look what Delaney's doing. And I'm looking at all these emails. I'm like, I want to go. And I couldn't make it. So I need you on a recording, Delaney, for the entire world to hear right now. You need to do it again, and I want to come.
I wish you would have been there. I think my jaw would have hit the floor if I saw you there. But it was fun.
It would have been so fun.
Yeah, it was a good day.
But I love that you chose to bring in the community. How did you choose to invite community members? What did you tell them you were doing, and what kind of feedback did you get from them?
So what was the hardest part about it really was all the correspondence it took. I truly felt like a secretary. Like, my whole plans for the week, I was calling around. I was talking to Mark, the principal, and just teachers around, like, who do you think would come? So then I contacted the librarian, and she said, we have a local writers group who writes out of the public library. And so I got their Facebook messengers. That's the only way I knew how to contact them. So I sent them all a message, and a couple of them were like, we'd love to be there. We'd love to support them. They brought their hardcovers of their books, and the students were just amazed to see their actual books, and they created the covers, and they were so amazed to see that and to hear that publishing's not as hard as they might think it is. So the students were really inspired, and so was the community, thinking like, we have future writers here, which is awesome.
I just want to celebrate you for a minute that you did all of that. And how long have you been in the classroom so far?
I believe 9 weeks.
9 whole weeks. You are doing good things, girly. I'm very proud of you. So stoked. I love hearing these stories about you taking risks and just trying to do really fun, innovative things for your students.
I would have to say, though, Ray, you might have a heart attack to know that all the work that I had to put into the publishing party is currently making me have a payoff of planning day by day, because I was so into that for the last 2 weeks. So I'm working on it.
Hey, it happens though. That's teaching. It's okay. That's just like the whole process, right? Of, trying something new and problem solving through what other factors come with it, and then picking it up again and going from there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was good, but now got to pick it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to reset and start again.
Yep.
So the next question I have for you has to do with kind of what fuels your fire. And to be honest, Delaney, I was really excited to ask you this question because I don't actually think I know the answer to it. And I've always wondered, for our listeners that don't know, I was able to connect with Delaney, gosh, I don't know, her sophomore or junior year in high school. And like, it went everything from just like bumping into her to then being able to have larger discussions, then obviously ending up working with her senior year. But you've consistently, from the moment I met you, have a smile plastered to your face, no matter how stressed you are. And you just love your job. And I just think being around you it's just, the positivity is infectious. So how do you keep this spark? Like, what fuels your fire to wake up every day and have this mentality really on life that you carry?
Yeah. So almost every day at school, I stand in the hallway and I look at every student and I say, good morning, and then their name. So I think it's really important to say their name, and I'm always really excited to see them. And then their response is always like, sheesh, how many cups of coffee has Miss Brummel had today? And I always hear that under their breath, and I'm always like, the same amount. It's always 2 cups. Like, it has nothing to do with the coffee at this point. I think it's just, I'm truly excited to be there, and I truly enjoy the students I have in front of me. I'm not doing it because I have the next lesson to do every day. I'm truly excited to see them, and I try to show them that every single day, even if they think I'm just a crazy coffee lady. The rumor around the school is actually, they'll say, another teacher was like, oh, let's try this activity Miss Brummel was doing. And a kid raised their hand and said, is that the loud one? And then the teacher said, yep, that's her. And so that's me, I guess. I'm cool with it.
Oh, I love that you have that reputation. That literally just made my day.
I think you might be the loud one over there, Ray.
Ooh.
I think so. I compete to be the loud one. So when you left, I got the reigning title, and now you get to spread the joy in other places.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the goal.
So besides the amazing smile and your dedication to building relationships with students, what's going on in education right now that you feel like you're really trying to work on and master and bring to your students?
So something I'm working on is trying to get students to enjoy being in language arts class. And the only way to do that, and something that I've learned at ISU time and time again, and a lot of the great teachers are doing it, is making sure everything is student-centered. So based on that, the first thing that comes to my mind is giving them choices. So when they heard that they had to write a narrative, which was going to be a whole story, it was going to be more than 2 pages, and it was going to take them over 2 weeks, they knew it was going to be really long. And they were dreading it. And I'm like, no, don't be scared, because you get to choose your main character. You get to choose what they're like. You get to choose what struggles they're going to go through. Is it a football player? Is it a veteran? It's something you're interested in. So I had a success because the students were willing to write it because they were so intrigued by their own stories. They got to make it up. And so now I just want to keep that student-centeredness going. And I feel like this unit will be even better because I know my students more. So I'll keep finding ways to give choices and keep it really student-led and student-centered. And that's what I'm excited about. It's always a challenge, but I'm going to keep going. Keep asking questions.
I love it. No, it's good. You know, I'm really excited to hear your answer for our advice question. You know, whenever we have listeners on our podcast, guests on our podcast, we're always asking them, you know, tell us what's your biggest advice, whether it be for a new teacher or a veteran teacher. And being able to work with you last year was a complete joy. And now kind of hearing how amazing you're doing from both you and your colleagues and your principal, I'm just so proud of you. And I want you to share whatever you feel like really helped you get to this point. What advice do our educators need, whether they're just graduating from ISU like you were, you know, just a few months ago, or maybe someone in the field that's been there for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? How do we keep this progressive mentality where, like you said, we're really focusing on giving our classrooms back to our students in the best way possible?
Yeah, so like I said, I've only been in there for 9 weeks, so you can take this as you wish, everybody. But the thing that I've really learned in the past literally 9 weeks is not to forget that these are actual humans in front of me. So something that I did like the first 2 days is I was so nervous about everything. Like I had that new teacher jitters. Like, how do I take attendance for the first time? Like that was my legit worry. How do I run the printer? I don't know the teacher next to me. All that was so worrisome, along with the lesson plan, that I was forgetting that I had humans in front of me. So I would walk into the room and I'd be like, okay, first thing we're doing today is this. And then I'm like, that's everything against what I've ever learned growing up. You say good morning, you smile, you acknowledge people. So I feel like my biggest advice is to acknowledge the actual people you have in front of you and say good morning. Take 5 minutes to talk about their weekend or their night before, and just always remember their people before the lesson can come in 5 to 10 minutes. It's always worth it.
Okay, so I need you to do me a huge favor here, if you can, Delaney.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stop saying that I've only been in a class for 9 weeks?
Thank you. Could you yell at her, please?
Because that was one of the best pieces of advice I think we have ever had shared on this podcast.
Agreed.
I absolutely love that. So like we talk a lot, and we've had a lot of guests that share this, and I think we need to talk about it even more, is that like your time in your classroom, the amount of days, years, months, weeks, whatever that you've been in your classroom is not really that important. It's how you're doing in there, what you're taking away from it. And, you know, we had this talk with Chelsea Ray from Akron, where she talked about being afraid to approach teachers and stuff, all the veteran teachers. And one of the things that they told her, well, you're silly, you should be able to approach us. And they also talked like, hey, we can learn from you. We want to learn from you because we're not in the same, we don't see things the same way as you do. We don't think about things the same way because we've been here for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. So, Delaney, I want you to stop saying that because you have a lot to share. And that was an awesome answer. It was great. So no more of that. I'm going to yell at you from here on out. I'm going to start stalking you. And if I see you say it on Instagram, I'm going to like Instagram slap you. I'm not sure how that works, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. Keep me accountable.
Yeah, keep you accountable. So it's awesome stuff. So that was great. So, all right. So now, Ray talks a big game. She kind of pumps you up, puts you on a pedestal and stuff. But this is where we're really going to test you out here.
Okay.
We're going to do six questions, and your goal is 15 seconds or less. Now, I need to let you know that in episode 110, Jason, I think, knocked all 6 out in like 27 seconds.
Oh, man.
Like your goal is really just 15 seconds per answer. But he went for the gold. So and he got pretty close. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
ELA teachers, Grammarly, for sure.
What's a book you're reading right now?
A book I'm reading 3 times a day, actually, to my classes is Miles Morales' Spider-Man by Jason Reynolds.
Ooh.
And who do you follow today on Twitter or Instagram?
2 people I think you should follow on Instagram is the @TexasLoneStarTeacher. It's mostly ELA, but also about decorating and just good strategies for your class. But then also, if you're into fashion, which us new teachers, we need all the good teacher outfits, you should follow Teacher Dress Code. That's where I get my inspiration.
What's a good YouTube channel or website for educators?
I would say monicagenta.com. She's got a really good blog going, especially for advisory teachers who don't have a lot of activities yet.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Daily, let your kids know that they should ask you why if you haven't told them yet. If they're wondering, why are you making me write this? They should definitely ask you, teach them to do that and remind them every day.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Ray Hewart said it best. You don't have to grade everything. I think that might have saved my life in my first year so far.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
She nailed it.
Hold on, I can't focus because I'm following Teacher Dress Code on Instagram.
Seriously, it's some good stuff.
All right. Well, I thought that was awesome. I thought you did great. I was worried that your piece of advice was going to be from Ray, so I guess it is.
Oh, stop.
It's so true, though.
If Ray is done on Instagram, she'll go ahead and continue with our last question. Ray?
I do have another question for you, Delaney. And actually, to be honest with you, when we end our recording today, I'm going to have like 15 more for you because I just love the stories you shared and just knowing your background. I'm just so proud of you and excited for your classroom. And I just wish that I could be a student in your room because I can feel the energy even just through your voice through this podcast recording. The final question I have for you is how our listeners can get connected to you. And I know I ask this question on every podcast, and all of you will roll your eyes when I say it really is the most important question. But Delaney, you are doing such amazing things, and I truly can't even imagine the things that you're going to be doing in a year, 2 years, 5 years, because you're so innovative and so passionate. I just think you are 100% the educator to watch because you are going to change this field. And so I want to make sure our listeners can connect with you. Would you mind sharing how they can best do that? No pressure. Good luck.
Wow, that was quite an introduction. If you would, I have a teacher Instagram going just at MS, so miss.brummel. It's not the most creative name, I would say, but please follow me. I'll put lessons. I love decorating my classroom. That's something I'm really big on right now, especially being a new teacher. And just anything inspirational, reading, writing, all the good stuff.
Love it.
Awesome. And you can find all the links and resources, everything we talked about in this episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as making sure that you get connected with Delaney and continue the conversation with her. So make sure you head over to teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you give us a rating and review, we'd really, really appreciate that a whole lot. And let's keep taking it one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and share this podcast with them. Delaney, this was a lot of fun, an awesome episode. Super excited for everyone to hear your stories and, talk about Ray and how awesome she is, whatever. But
Yeah, exactly.
no, seriously, this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that you got to come on and share your experiences from spending the year with Ray. She really did always talk about how awesome you were. And now I actually know Mark as well, and he also talked about how awesome you are. So it was just a lot of fun having you on, and thank you for taking some time out and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me. I was a bit nervous. I'm feeling better now, though.
You should feel really good right now because that was an awesome episode.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. And until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better. I almost said episode 111. I should have said it.
You're going to keep that in there now.
Yeah, I might.
As always, I am with, nope, I'm trying again. My brain's not working. Let's start over. I was thinking about the 111 thing. You messed me up. All right, here we go.